All right, so home stretch. We built this site. I haven't put all the content in there yet. That's just kind of like markdown files I have to write. But this video is going to be about how you can deploy your elm-spa app, whatever you're making with Netlify, um, and yeah, be able to share it with the world, your friends, your enemies, you name it. Like show them what you're working with. So what we're going to do is we are going to basically the project that we made, we're just going to initialize a Git repository. I'm going to push mine up to GitHub. That's the one, that's what I use. And then I'm going to log into Netlify, create a new site. We're going to plug Netlify into that GitHub repo. So every time I make a change, it's going to automatically deploy. And it's free. So I don't know. It just seems too good to be true, but it is. So let's do that. Let's take what we've done and let's initialize a Git repo and get going. Something that I'm going to do before I make my Git repo is I'm going to make this git ignore file and basically just ignore the folders that I don't want to push up to source control. So everything in Elm stuff and everything in node modules, we don't really want that in our source control because we can generate that with our npm run commands. So we don't want all that junk in there. And then you can, in here, you can do git init in your project root, and that should make a project. And if you're using Visual Studio Code, it's going to highlight all your changes. I'm just typing Control-Shift-G, and these are basically all the files that we added. It's kind of crazy we weren't using Git this whole time, but here we are, and the site's done. So we're just going to commit all of these changes, and I'm going to say prepare to deploy to Netlify. I'm just doing Command Enter here. And then basically I've got nowhere to push it to because I haven't made a Git repo yet. So I'm going to make a new repo with GitHub. I'm going to call it elm-spa dev. The doc site we build. Cool. So I'm going to create that repository. And then basically this is an existing repository. So I'm just going to copy these commands and paste them here. What that's going to do is it's going to push this stuff up to this new repo that I made. And that's it. So that's our elm-spa. It's telling us, the README is how to run everything. This is a link to the site that doesn't exist yet, but it will because you're watching this video, so you probably have access to that by now. Cool. So that's up there. Ready to deploy to Netlify. That means I'm going to go to netlify.com. I'm going to log in. I log in with my GitHub, and I'm just going to make a new site from Git here in the top right. So I'll do GitHub. It'll pop this thing up. I will search for elm-spa dev. And that's the repo we just created, so it found it. I'm going to say I want to deploy from master, and then for my build command, I'm going to do npm run build. When you do elm-spa init, it automatically creates a package.json for you, and it already has these commands for you. So it's going to run the elm-spa build, which generates all the code that we didn't type this whole time that we weren't even thinking about. And it's also going to run the Elm compiler, which is what we were doing as we developed. And that'll put everything in a folder called public. And that's it. So if you type in npm run build here in public and do deploy site, we can watch Netlify deploy our site. So let's do that. So basically what Netlify does every time it gets a change is it'll look at your code. It'll basically copy your source code. It'll check your package.json and install the Elm dependency. It'll install all your Elm packages. And then it's going to build. It already built it, it looks like. And then it's uploading it, and our site is ready. So our site's live, and it's available at this really weird URL. Wonderful pare, da-da-da-da-da. And that's it. We've got our website, and this is a link that you could share with your friends. Wonderful pare aea4a5.netlify.com probably isn't what the final link's going to be, but literally everything we were doing in development is now up in the cloud. And how long did that take? I don't know. That was fast. All right, it's freaky. But yeah, it's totally legit. And we did it. We're heroes. So that's what deploying looks like. Let's make a code change and just kind of see what happens, right? So I'm going to go back to the Explorer here, and I'm just going to change. I'm going to change the guide. So instead of saying let's do stuff, we're going to have an encouraging message that says you got this. So I make this change, and basically my workflow is I save this, I go to my git changes. Oh shoot, looks like I'm pushing my compiled assets to source control. We don't want to do that. So I'm going to update my thing to use to ignore the dist folder. I'm just going to say any dist folder in the entire project. We're going to want to ignore that. So I'm going to basically commit those changes, and then to kind of make up for the mistake I made, I'm going to get rid of public dist elm.compiled. And I don't know, we can keep the file around on my computer, but we basically don't want to include that. So I'm going to just say, yeah, change guide description and ignore this. That was kind of a secondary thing that I realized we were doing wrong. Yep. So we're going to push that up. And if you go to the deploys tab in Netlify, when Netlify detects that change after you push it up to Git, you'll see that it's detected that latest commit, and it's going to do those steps again from scratch. So where we were earlier was basically the guide had, let's do stuff. But when this deploy is complete, and it looks like it's going pretty quick, I think it's done. Yep, it says one new file to upload. That was our generated JavaScript. When I refresh the page, the link's broken. When I refresh the page, you got this should show up. That link is broken for a very important reason, and that's because the Netlify TOML file, I did not include an elm-spa in it yet. So that's something I'm going to need to actually include. So Netlify TOML is basically a file telling your code how to redirect on deployments. So the actual site that I've been making, I basically make it so that no matter what request you get, it's always going to point back to that public index.html file. So when you refresh the page and you're on a different route, nothing breaks. So I'm going to do one more thing here and say make sure SPA routes work. And I'm just going to push it and go to the top. And it's already building our changes. It's such a nice day to be alive, you guys. We're living in 2019 is a good year for Elm. We're gonna yep, look, it even said there's no new files to upload, so that was pretty awesome. So now when I refresh, hopefully the redirects will take effect and things will work out okay. I wonder what happens with missing files now. Yeah. So yeah, we're basically the actual markdown parser that I'm using is a little more sophisticated. It filters out things that aren't markdown, because what's happening here is if you go to content/docs/elm-spa.md, before we were getting a 404, but now with this line of code, it's redirecting to the app. So when it can't find a route, it's in the app. So you can look at the actual code I'm using for the markdown parser in the real site that you're on. But that's pretty much it. We've got this thing. We're clicking around, and we're done. There's the YouTube video that's ready. I am going to start writing the content. I'm gonna have to record the docs videos. I haven't done that yet. And once I do that, so the documentation's already been written out. I'm just gonna kind of quickly go over all the concepts here, upload a video. I'm going to write some content for the guide. I kind of did it backwards for the guide because I figured it would be more natural that way. Upload this stuff and hopefully send it out and see what folks think. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. It's been an adventure, but we built an entire thing from scratch together, and I think that's pretty cool. No edits, no cutting. You saw me fail a bunch of times, and I think that's totally healthy and normal. And if you don't get everything right the first time, like a-okay. We've got a pretty good community. I'm gonna ask for in the official Elm Lang Slack if you're not a part of it yet. I think it's like, let's go to the Elm website. If you want to like reach out to me or the community and ask questions, like if the docs or the guide's missing something, you should check out the Slack. So you can go to like elmlang.herokuapp.com. You can sign up if you're not already signed up. And once I release this, I'm going to ask for a elm-spa channel, and hopefully that'll be a place where you can go and ask elm-spa specific questions. But if not, if it's it's something just in general, there's a beginners channel. It's really great. There's a general channel. So I encourage folks to check that out and see how it goes. Yeah, thanks so much for watching the guide. Check out the docs if you're curious about anything else. And yeah, have a great day. See you around.